Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here with another flipped lesson for you. We're still doing the review of stuff you guys should have mastered. This should be easy stuff. Today's lesson is on plotting points and graphing. Now, I just want to mention that everything we've done up to this point, you should have already mastered. If you haven't mastered it by now, you need to come in and get extra practice. I can give you extra worksheets. I can work with you one-on-one. You can spend time with your parents. You can go back and watch videos. You can go on to Khan Academy, whatever you need to do. But I'm expecting you to already know how to do it. I'm not going to teach a whole unit on how to solve two-step equations. You should already be very good at it, or multi-step equations, all right? If you need more practice, I would love to help you. But you have to make the mature decision and say, you know what? I haven't mastered this yet. That's my fault as a student, not the teacher's fault. I'm going to go in and get extra help. All right, so first we're going to talk about the coordinate plane, and we need to know the terminology, all right? First of all, we have the x-axis, and the x-axis is a very special place because whenever you're on the x-axis, your y coordinate is 0. It's always 0. The y coordinate is 0. Anywhere on the x-axis. Name any point on the x-axis. Points have two coordinates, an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. The x number can be any number in the real number systems. The y-coordinate must be 0. And over here we have the y-axis, right? The y-axis. And I'll bet you can guess that on the y-axis, the x-coordinate is 0 every single time. Okay, and there's one more special place right here that is called the origin, and that is the point 0, 0, because you're on both axes. You're on the x-axis and the y-axis at the same time. So therefore, the coordinates are 0, 0. All right, now I'm going to erase this because it's going to be in my way. But we also have some quadrants here. You notice this graph is broken up into 4 sections. We call those sections quadrants. And this is quadrant 1, starting in the upper right corner. When you're in quadrant 1, you're going to get a positive x and a positive y. All right, x is positive, y is positive. Over here, going counterclockwise, is quadrant 2. Now you get a negative x and a positive y. And this should be really common sense because if you look at the x-axis as a number line, well, here's 0. The positives are to the right. Look at that, positive x. And the negatives are to the left, okay? Now, think about the y-axis as a number line. The positives would be up here, and the negatives would be below 0. So when you move down into quadrant 3, which is over here, your x is negative because you're to the left of the origin, and your y is negative because you're below the origin, right? When you're in this area, you're to the left of the origin and below the origin, so both are negative. Then finally, you come around over here to quadrant 4. These are Roman numerals, by the way. If you don't know what they are, come see me. I'd love to help you. We're, once again, to the right of the origin, so x is positive, and then we're below the origin, and so y is negative. All right, now the last thing we need to do is we're going to plot some points. Okay, I've got some points here. Point A is 1, 5. So let me show you how to plot the point 1, 5. Start at the origin. I need to go 1 in the x direction and then 5 in the y direction. Coordinates are always done alphabetically. X coordinate, then y coordinate. So I go 1 in the x direction, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the y direction, and that is point A. So point A is in quadrant 1. Oops, I lost my mouse. There we go. B is at negative 3, 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is point B. It's in quadrant 2. Take a look at point C, negative 4, negative 2. What quadrant is it going to be in? If you said third, you're absolutely right. Negative 4, negative 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And there is point C. All right. Point D is at 6, 3. What quadrant do you think that's going to be in? A positive X and a negative Y? You guessed it. It's in quadrant 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. There's point D. All right. Point E is at 0, 4. 0, 4. Now, kids get this one wrong a lot. Put your pencil at the origin. Move 0 in the X direction. I just moved 0. Did you see it? Now I'm going to move 4 in the Y direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's point E. Remember that when the X coordinate is 0, you're on the Y axis. All right. F is 0, negative 2. Put my pencil at the origin. Move 0 in the X direction, and then go 1, 2 in the Y direction. There you go. Negative Y direction, that is. All right. 3, 0. The Y is 0, so I must be on the X-axis. 1, 2, 3. Point G. And then finally, negative 7, 0. So I think 9, 8, 7 right there. There's point H. You should be masters of this. All right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a couple extra points here. I'm going to put point, let's see, we'll call it M. And then I'm going to put point N right there. And point Q. Notice I didn't use a point O because it might confuse you with the origin and all. Call that point R. And then we'll call this one right here point S. And then we'll make that T. And finally, we'll do this one here, point U. And then point V. All right, go ahead and pause the video. See if you can find the coordinates of each one of these points. When you're ready, hit play and you'll see my answers up here. Okay, there you can see my answers, and I took some of the other stuff away so it wouldn't look so cluttered. M was at negative 8, 7. N was at 0, 10. Q was at 9, 3. R was at negative 10, 0. S at negative 1, negative 1. T at 0, negative 5. Whoa, I can't move all those. U was at 5, 0. And V was at 10, negative 1. All right. I skipped point P, but it doesn't matter. I was just naming different points. That's it for today. There's not going to be any extra practice problems. For something like this, it's so simple. You get a little practice in class, and then you'll be good. Those of you that need extra practice on some of the previous stuff, it's a good time to go back and rewatch a video or talk to me about getting extra help. All right, Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody.